going on, chat? Come in the building, tap those hearts. Hey. How y'all feeling? How you feeling? How you feeling? All right. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Let's get into it. I hope y'all had a wonderful day. Oh, how rude is that? Just yawning all in the camera. It's been one of those days, guys. Alright, so I titled this what mood we in today? I like the blue. I could be in a blue mood. We're feeling green. Y'all feeling real green today? Or we feeling like a little spicy? I think the green might be here. Now you guys know I have been dealing with just my internet dropping, so I'm gonna watch it today. Hopefully we good to go. That has been very frustrating for the past 2 or 3 days. The internet has been like really fucking me up. I can't even lie. I don't know if it's the weather or what, but we're gonna push through. So I am Dr. Chiefess Sunflower, aka Dr. Shon, the motivational dentist. OCO to my Niji. Listen, sending love to the ancestors. If you in a positive vibe, if you had a positive day, you ain't letting nothing ruin your day, then you in the right place right now. Welcome to the tribe. This page is about positivity, inspiration, and knowledge to keep us motivated and growing. How amazing is that? So make sure you go ahead and tap in, hit that follow button. Hit that follow button so that you can be in the know. As you can see from the title of this live, I want to talk a little bit about just being grateful for the truth, because that's the only thing that I could really be grateful for. Not the only thing, but a major thing we'll say is for the truth. This is the year of the awakening. This is the year of, knowledge and just being unapologetic and us just not falling for it. All right. So, honestly, guys, because this is, I just seen it drop. I think it's gonna drop. No. Yeah, I feel like it's gonna drop, but we'll see. Okay, the internet is weak as hell still. I think it might have messed up on TikTok. Come on. Are we still live, y'all? Let me know, let me know, let me know. What's up, TikTok? Let me know where you watching from, how you feeling. It says we still live. I can't really tell. can't really tell if we live or not. But I'm gonna push through because it look like it's still connected. So yeah, I'm not gonna do my big topic right now because I don't feel like this thing cutting me off and cutting y'all off in the middle of the big topic. So yeah, no big topic right now. We're just checking in for the positive vibes. I'm just telling you guys what I'm grateful for. And as you can see, I'm just grateful for being able to escape the matrix. Like, honestly. You know. What do you mean by that, Dr. Shon? What do you mean? I talked to someone yesterday and they was like, they really not only boycotting the holidays, but they don't celebrate the holidays. You know, if you like me, you kind of don't celebrate Thanksgiving. But I've not always been like that. I was raised with this tradition, celebrating holidays, paganisms, everything that was, you know, really meant to break the indigenous spirit. Holidays, yes, there's something to break the indigenous spirit. So when I figured out that colonization had a lot to do with holidays, then I just can't be involved. So I'm just grateful to be able to wake up out of the matrix to the point where I'm not really tied down to pseudo history, I guess you could say, right? Are we still live on not TikTok? TikTok, it looks like it's, I don't know, child. I don't know, child, but we're gonna keep it going. Let's see. I'm trying to watch it close, guys. So if you see a little hesitation in my live, it's because oh, did it cut off? If you see me hesitate with this live, it's because my internet keep dropping. And I'm just trying to get it to act right. Thank you for tapping the hearts. What's up, Louis? Thank you for following. What's going on, y'all? How was your day? How you feeling? How you doing? Catch that right up at you. What's up, y'all? My internet is a little janky right now, so we're just gonna slow poke this live. If you're just now following me, my name is Dr. Chief the Sunflower, and I am a dentist by career. But I'm also the motivational dentist. I do a lot of history, showing love for North Carolina. You know, North Carolina be so heavy in my life. I can't even hold you. I can't even hold you. What's going on? Thank you. I can't even hold y'all. Last time I had 2 people from North Carolina holding it down for the state. What up, what up, what up? Y'all showing out on those hearts. Y'all showing out. Let me know if this thing is dropping the live, because I feel like it's dropping the signal. I had a good topic planned for tonight, but there's no need for me to even start it with my internet tripping like this. I don't know if in New York, I don't know what's going on with the internet, but it's been really tripping. I think it may be the weather, and that sucks. But that's no excuse. I'm going to try my best to, you know, stay live as long as I can. But y'all come in the comments, let me know how you feeling, let me know where you watching from. Like I said, I'm just so grateful today for truth, okay? Now, if you following me, one thing we do on this live is we do a lot of truth telling, a lot of challenging the matrix. Oregon overheard it. Oregon overheard it. I think I'm reading that right. Are you trying to say you from Oregon? Andrea Moore just got the #1 gifter badge. What's up, Andrea? What's up, y'all? All right, I think my signal holding pretty strong, so let's see. We might go into a little deep topic because I feel like it's worth it. I got about 50 minutes to chill with y'all tonight. What's going on? What's going on? But I may not be able to get through the whole topic, so this might ruffle a couple feathers. So I don't know. But I like ruffling feathers because guess what? That's how I found out the truth. That's how I got out of the matrix, is because someone cared enough about me to, plant that seed for me to go do research to be able to free myself from the matrix. I know that sounds crazy, but it is what it is. So once I found it out, the truth about history, about colonization, and the blinders came off, my brain woke up again. I stopped believing everything that I learned in high school history books, and then I did my own research, and that was the awakening. But the other day, the chief, let's be honest, the chief came to me and he showed me something. And see, if someone showed me something about history, that's the thing. If I show you something, anybody show you something, it's more like okay, that's something I can go look into. It's not something you have to believe immediately. That's the thing. So I'm grateful for the true history that I've learned over this past year, over the past, decade, about where I truly come from, where my tribe truly comes from. Do you know how empowering it is to know where you truly come from? When you really unlock the code, when you really remove the invisible chains and you walk out of the prison that your brain is locked into with no chains, like they're invisible, and you walk out and you finally see the light, you're like, wow, it's just opened so many gates for me. Okay, it just opens so many gates. So if y'all ready to get into a little bit of tea, just a little bit now, if you ain't, I don't know, it ain't for everybody. These conversations, you gotta be emotionally intelligent and ready to just see another perspective. That's the one thing I love about the debate class I took in high school. That's one thing I did learn in high school. Being in the IB International Baccalaureate program was a debate class. I didn't understand it in high school because the history was pseudo history. But that skill of debating and allowing other people to get an opinion, or just stating your opinion about a subject, especially when it comes to history, it can ruffle feathers, but guess what? I don't give a fuck. Don't. Because people got to know. People need to know the way that I felt when I was like, what? Every time I read history now, guys, I just be like, what the hell? Woo. I be having to, stop myself from just getting too deep in, because it just can shock you. What's up, Ayana Marie? Thank you for liking the live, getting that #1 gift badge. My TikTok tribe, Desi just got that #1 gifter badge. Y'all showing out on TikTok. All right, so I don't know if I have time to get through this whole thing, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try. I'll try to go fast to explain what I'm talking about. I think my internet is good. Yes. This has been bothering me so long. All right. Jeez. Okay. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. Just gonna put that on a soft repeat. All right. Let's get into it, guys. So the other day, I was presenting some information from the chief, and he showed me something. It was like something about Constantine. Y'all might not know who the hell Constantine is. I didn't know either. I ain't know either. Constantine, who's that? Okay, so he said Constantine wrote a letter to Rome to say, they told me that Constantine wrote a letter to Rome to say that the Jesus story would make us a lot of money. When I heard that, I was like, the Jesus story will make them a lot of money? What are you talking about? So I did some research, and I was like, to the chat, GPT, I was like, did Constantine say that the Jesus story will make us a lot of money? And the chat GPT was like, no. Constantine didn't say that. It said Constantine did not say that. There's no historical letter, no decree or document where Constantine says that. And I was like, okay, what's up, Junior? Thank you for following the live. Alright, it said nothing in the Roman archives, the church councils, or the imperial correspondence contains a quote even close to that. But somebody told me they said this. So this is what I mean by doing your research, and somebody tell you something, you go research it yourself. You don't just listen to them. He showed me something that he found, and I was like, let me go see if this is true, because Constantine saying that the Jesus story gonna make him a lot of money don't sound like, that sounds bizarre, right? So chat was like, no. But they said the reason why people believe that this is true, that Constantine said that the Jesus story will make them a lot of money, is because Constantine, he had ulterior motives back then, right? His motives were messy, they were political, and deeply tied to power, which gave rise to the myth that he got into the Jesus story because it would make the church in Rome money, right? So we're going to break it down without the sugarcoating for the people who really like the truth like me. So that's why I say I'm grateful for the truth. I like to know the truth. Constantine didn't say that. But what the hell did Constantine say then? How they got this myth out here? So that's what we uncover when we go and say, okay, I found out this knowledge. What I found out wasn't true, but what part of it is true? So let's go down the rabbit hole. So Constantine, this guy from the early centuries. So we in 2025 right now. Constantine was around in like 300 CE. We in like 2025 CE, I guess. So he was here like 1400 years ago. No, that might not be right. He was here more like 1800 years. I don't know. The timeline be messing me up, but we gonna get through this together, guys. Okay. Alright, so he knew Constantine back then in the 300 CEs, that far back, because that's what this little piece of evidence got me, because it said Constantine didn't say that, but he did do something similar to that. So I got to digging, y'all. And what I found out, I was so fucking pissed. I was like, what? I don't know why I go digging for history, because I be finding out like some crazy shit. But let's keep going. So Constantine absolutely understood. What it says is that he understood religion. This is not me. This is history. It ain't me, guys. I just need open ears. Religion was power, control, loyalty, labor, taxation, and political unity. So Constantine understood this in 300 CE, so well before our time, well before we was even thought about the internet, the phone, none of that, well before Christopher Columbus, well before settlers ever set foot in America, coming over here messing with the Mississippian mound builders and the true Egypt. Let's talk about it. Before all of this, Constantine was over there in Europe somewhere in 300 CE. Before the popes. This was before the popes. This was even before the Bible. We're going to get into it. All right? He didn't say that Jesus will make us a lot of money. No, that's not what Constantine said. Because the Roman Empire already understood something richer. They understood that unifying the belief of the whole world, basically, unifying the whole empire. This is Rome we talking about. Constantine, Rome, 300 CE, over here in Europe somewhere we're talking about. While this is going on, there are indigenous people all around the world on a different time. Constantine was on the Gregorian calendar. What's going on, Queens Alchemy? Greetings, my sister. What's going on? How you feeling? Thanks for getting that Get There badge. Alright. So, back then, before we was even thought about, before we was colonized, before any of this stuff, before the pilgrims, before, started pretending like they were us. They started erasing all the history. Before all this, Constantine back in the 300s now, this goes far back. So that's why I say when someone tells me a piece of evidence and I'm like, Constantine, who the fuck is Constantine? And I was like, Constantine from 300 CE, that don't have nothing to do with me, but it had everything to do with us later, right? Because even back then they understood that religion controlled a lot of things. So if you can have one belief, one empire, you get economic stability and wealth, and that is money. So these are the facts that we do know about. Thank you for following for Niche and getting that heart me, Queen Alchemy, and for Niche. So what did Constantine say? Constantine legalized. Now this gonna blow your mind, guys. This gonna blow your mind. For Niche sending up roses. Constantine. And the reason why I'm going so slow, because this is going to blow your mind. So this is what sent me down the rabbit hole, y'all. I don't know if I'm going to have time to get through the whole, what I found out today. But I had to get this out today on this day because I feel like we got to keep everything in perspective, no matter what day it is. Okay? So Constantine legalized Christianity in 313 CE. Did I just say that? I was like, what? Constantine legalized Christianity in 313 CE? How the fuck you legalize Christianity? This is what I'm saying. I'll be like, what is you? Okay. So he legalized Christianity in 313 CE with the Edict of Milan. Edict of Milan is EDICT OFMILAN, like Milan, Italy. Yep, he sure did. Farnese said, I ain't know this though. I didn't know until somebody told me something he didn't say, and then it led me to stuff he did do. He wanted political control, not because he wanted a spiritual awakening. Legalized Christianity, what the hell? Yes, this was well before our time, well before we lost our sovereignty here on Turtle Island, well before the nations and the colonizers and Christopher Columbus, well before any of this was thought about. In 313 CE, Constantine, this is why you gotta know who the Constantine is. He a very part of who we are now. Some of these same laws and rules apply now. You gotta unlock the code. You gotta unlock the code. So that's what we doing right now. We unlocking the code you might not know that was on your top. He said, yeah, we're gonna legalize Christianity in 313 CE. Legalize Christianity. Why did he say this? It's so much they hid. They hid everything. Everything. They lied about everything. But this started way before we got to know, where did the colonizers learn this from? The answer is going to shock you. It is going to shock you. Let's keep going. So after he legalized Christianity in 313 CE with the Edict of Milan, look it up for yourself, you know. After he did that, Christian bishops became tax exempt. This is in 313 CE. Now this is in Europe now. We're not talking about into America, Turtle Island. We talking about over here in Europe. So he legalized Christianity. He said, if you become a bishop and you get people to convert to Christianity, you're going to be tax exempt. He gave them land. If they became a bishop, they became powerful economically and politically, the bishops, in 313 CE. The church quickly became the largest landowner in Europe. This was going on in Europe. And the largest landowner only in Europe now. So colonizers, YTs, they only became big landowners in Europe. And the bishops that he put in place, because now Christianity is legal, they were tax exempt. But the bishops and the clergymen extracted tithes. This is 313 CE. So if you wonder where tithes come from, this is where it came from. Constantine said that, okay, we can start the church, make Christianity legal, because before then it wasn't legal. It wasn't global. It was just in one part of Africa that they stole the idea of Christianity from, was somewhere around Ethiopia. It was only one area or tribe that they copied from, but we're going to get into that too. Bishops, wow. That's what all pastors call themselves today. It's going to go deep. As I said, we're going to go deep. This started with Constantine, though. It didn't start how you think it started. Before there was even a Bible, because the Bible wasn't around back then, 313 CE, they made Christianity legal. Okay? Clock that T. Guys, in order to control the people, you got to have one belief, one empire. This is going to give us economic stability and wealth. We're talking about the Roman Catholic Church here. All right? So why do these rumors exist? It said this old satirical quote attributed to Constantine from much later sources said, with the fable of Christ, this is a quote now, this was like this, what the fuck? The Catholic Church, yes. I'm just the messenger, but we're gonna keep going, because I was like, what? As I'm reading this, I'm like, what? And it just kept making me go deeper and deeper and deeper. So again, historians agree this quote really isn't authentic when they said the fable of Christ will be able to control the people, but it was observed, about imperial Christianity. It turned spiritual identity into political obedience. So that's why this myth survives, because the pattern is real. Even if the quote is fake, we don't know. But the pattern that we see today, it still stems from Constantine. Like somebody said earlier, oh, bishops, that's what they use today. Tithes, that's what they do today. It came from 300 CE. If you're wondering, the fable of Christ will be able to control the people. That's what they said. And you wonder why the American Indians failed. You wonder why people stuck in the matrix. You wonder what's the biggest trick. You would think it was, enslavement and all this stuff. But what's the biggest enslaver of the mind? We shall find out in a second. All right. So what is actually documented about Constantine? Constantine used Christianity as a tool for political unification. He needed one empire, one God, one authority, and he realized this because the Roman Empire was falling. And remind you guys, the Roman Empire, the YTs only had Europe. They only colonized Europe at this time. Not even Africa, not Turtle Island, not any other part of the world. Okay? So Constantine, back then, he funded the churches. He funded the churches, the bishops, and the clergy heavily. He gave them tax breaks, state land, imperial money, and favored legal status. It's kind of the same thing that's going on right now. If you become a church, a pastor, a bishop, you're going to get legal statuses. You don't pay taxes because you're helping people convert to Christianity. Christianity makes the people fall down, become obedient. This is where we're going with this. So he replaced many of the local indigenous traditions of Europe, Africa, and Turtle Island with central religious authority. This is why people say Christianity became the world's first global corporate identity system. You notice I said it became the world's first global corporate identity system. Christianity. Now Constantine did this in 300 CE. This is why the timeline is so important to me. So church wealth equal imperial wealth. They turned the land into labor, into agriculture, into gold, into their legitimacy, into census control, into taxation. That's how money came in. Right? I know this goes a little deep, but I hope I'm explaining it like in a manner where you can kind of follow. He didn't need a letter. This is just going on. All right? So the real conversation is how the empire used religion to colonize our mind, how these stories weaponized the economy, and how indigenous people were reclassified. This model from Constantine from 313 CE became the blueprint here in America with the Census Bureau and Christianized law, because here Christianity was also mandatory when people were enslaved. And we got to go back and understand this, how we got to where we are now. Why is there a church on every corner in the hood? Why is there a liquor store on every corner in the hood? Why? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So the narratives are the most profitable currency on the earth. The narrative. I'll repeat that again. The narrative that you follow, the narrative that you have is the most profitable currency on earth, is the narrative that you believe. Of course, he favored the churches. Facts. Rome understood that. America understood that. Colonizers understood the story mattered to control your identity. Whatever story you believe, it's going to control your identity. So that's why it's dangerous, because we around here thinking, oh, everything cool, but 300 CE, they was thinking about colonizing the world back then. It ain't start right now. It didn't start right there. When they control your story, chiefs and chiefesses, my royal autochthonous inhabitants, when they control your story, when they tell you that story in history books, when they was showing my daddy Color Purple while he was in high school and they got out of school and was fighting because they didn't have that story, they was teaching this in school. It's a process. Exactly. They knew that by telling your story for you, by telling you the story before you had a chance to look and open your brain up, they had to do it like that because we are powerful, ancient, sacred people. They cannot let you be great. I got to control you and confuse you first. The story controls your behavior. Telling your story controls your labor. It controls your land, the wealth, and your destiny. So let's break it down. So then I got interested. I was like, well, what is the Edict of Milan? Because that's what he used to legalize Christianity. And I said, why did he make Christianity legal? Because I was confused by that. I was like, he made Christianity legal? So I wanted to go deeper, even though I just learned that. And I was like, what was the belief before he made that legal? Because we in 300 CE now. We going a little bit back. Like, trying to understand the mind of a colonizer. That's maybe what I should have put. Understanding the mind of a colonizer. All right. So the Edict of Milan in 313, the people involved were Emperor Constantine, is what they told us. They told us our story. Facts. And someone named Licinius from the east. Let's see if we can pull up a picture of Constantine so y'all can kind of see who this loser is. Constantine. Because I know they got a picture of him. Constantine the Great. You know how 2025? No, he was born February 27, 272. And he died May the 22nd, 337. I'm talking about the centuries now. He was like the beginning of the century when they started over. That is crazy. They don't really have no pictures of him. Let's see if I can pull up the screen for y'all. So y'all can see Constantine in the... I'm going to take y'all over TikTok so you can see Constantine and how he look. It ain't much to see, child. That's Constantine right there, guys. You see? There he go. That's Constantine. Alright? So he was born on my birthday, y'all. What the fuck? What? Wow, that What's your birthday? Yes, 227. Wow. Me and Constantine got the same birthday. That's wow. That's wild, y'all. Okay, so that's Constantine. Child. I learn something new every day. Ooh, I learn something new every day. So that's Constantine in the rock. Let's see more about Constantine. Where we going with this? So now you got a face to put with the person, kind of, sort of. 227, mine 622. I love the numbers, right? You know, anytime I see 227, it's gonna be a great day. All right. So that's Constantine. He's involved in 313 CE with creating the Edict of Milan. It was not a declaration that Christianity is now the new religion. It was a legal document granting full religious freedom throughout the Roman Empire. So that's what the Edict of Milan was. It was a document granting full religious freedom throughout the Roman Empire because they were trying to control people back then. The edict said, and this is in quotes now, this is a quote from the Edict of Milan from Constantine back then. This fool who was born on my birthday. What the... Anywho, it said, Christians and everyone else are free to worship however they want. Also, give the Christians their confiscated property back. That's what it said, the Edict of Milan. I guess if the people who were Christians back then, maybe they were confiscating their property until he made it legal to worship whatever religion you wanted, and then they gave them their property back. Back then, I don't know what the hell they was doing, but this is what it says, the Edict of Milan, right? Share this live and the live like this. Like live, this sister is teaching. Thank you, Queen Alchemy. I appreciate it. All right. So the second line is important. Land equals money. Buildings equals money, and control of worship sites equals influence. That was the start of the church's economic empire. Then the answer to why did Constantine legalize Christianity? All right. Rome was falling apart back then. They had civil wars, they had military rebellions, economic collapse, plagues. They had lots of plagues, uncleanliness, dirtiness, the lack of sanitation. It was just like a big filthy mess. Just drunk, just everybody. I feel like they was smoking some crack or something, making up these rules and laws. They had to be on something heavy back then. The Roman territory was shrinking back then. And they had way too many gods, no unified identity. Every person on the land, no matter where you are, even in Turtle Island, we had our own sovereignty, our own spirituality. Before this Roman people came over here, this is what they were doing over here in Europe. They were falling apart. Rome was falling apart. So Constantine said, we need one belief system because they had so many. We need one belief system that could unify people across different tribes, languages, cultures, and countries. Yes, I remember this information. Wow. I'm happy that we got somebody who understands and know this already. Because I didn't even know this. I was just like, what? And then I just kept digging and digging and digging, and it took me to... I'm going to help you. I'm going to take y'all along the journey. So, Constantine needed one belief system to unify everybody. Back then, he said this. He said a single religion would equal a single loyalty, a single law, a single authority, less rebellion, and more tax stability. Christianity became the CE. Millions of people were already converting to Christianity. Christianity had networks, leadership structures, financial pools, martyr stories that inspired loyalty, and free labor through charity groups. So Constantine saw a movement around this certain religion in that area that he was in that he could harness. He said, oh, these people are already converting to this particular religion. How about we control these people? He said, instead of, trying to threaten and harm them, how about we try to control the religion? So he wanted a divine legitimacy. He claimed he saw a vision in the sky. You went back, though, talking about the tools of Christianity and how the beginning started. Yes. Yes. The tools of Christianity. Yes. This is how it started. So he said, quote, in the sign, conquer. He said he got a sign to conquer. Colonization mindset is starting. I don't know what Constantine was on, but he was on something heavy, I can tell you that. He used the story of him getting a divine sign to conquer to justify his rule, win battles, and claim God chose him. Quote, God chose me is what he said. This is from Constantine. Kings, presidents, popes, and colonizers use this strategy right now to this day. He needed a replacement for the all failing belief system because, like we said, the traditional religious belief in Rome was dying out around this time. Okay? So then I went and asked the question. I was like, well, what did Rome believe before Christianity? Because this is around 313 CE. What was going on before he so-called legalized Christianity as a political tool? It says paganism was going on. That's why they talk about pagan holidays like Thanksgiving. Yeah. Clock it. Yeah. Yeah. A holiday that celebrates erasing indigenous people. Yeah. You got to be careful with what you worship. So they believe in Roman polytheism. What is Roman polytheism? This means they had many gods. They had many rituals. People had local gods, house gods, regional gods. They had emperor worship. They had all type of gods. Everybody had a different religion and spirituality depending on where you was at. Everybody was on a whole different page all over the world. Even over here in Turtle Island, the Mississippians, the mound builders, they were here for thousands and thousands of years doing their own shit. Nobody was messing with them. The Merry Indians, they had their own attire on, everything that was melanated, copper tone, Niji. Let's make sure we know that part. While all this was going over in Rome. And I don't even like talking about international history, but this is something that we have to unlock here as Niji to understand the control that we're under, because it goes so deep that you can't even understand. When you like 313, they was already thinking about colonizing me. Yes. The system was breaking apart back then. Control is always the reason. This is the way it is now. Facts, Queen's Alchemy. Facts. I mean, I didn't mean to cheer to that, but I'm just saying, like, that is, like, so true. That's how it is now. Okay? So they had too many different guys. The system was breaking apart. Constantine saw it. They didn't have no central authority. People didn't trust their old guys anymore. It was just a hot mess back then. They was just doing a lot. If you could just see, it's just like they had so much going on. The old temples cost money but did not unify the empire. Nothing that they were doing was unifying and giving them control of everybody, because everybody believes something different. Okay? Empires around Rome started adopting monotheism, which means one god. So before Constantine did it, the other empires in Rome started to have one god versus polytheism because it was too many gods to keep up with. It said Rome needed one god to match the new world order. Yeah. The church needed one God to create the new world order. So when you hear new world order, that's what they're talking about. And people would think, oh, the new world order is coming. And no, it's already here. That's why Christianity is everywhere now. It may have different names, Catholic, but it has the same beginning with Constantine. Okay? So the old Roman religion was political, ritual-based, transactional, meaning I give offerings and God gives blessings. It wasn't moral or spiritual. It wasn't unifying, and it was collapsing. By the 300s, the old religion had no cultural or economic power left. New world order is in effect for sure. Already been in effect for hundreds of years. It ain't on the way. It's already here. It's already here. So why did they choose Christianity specifically? It offered Rome something new. One God, one empire. Monotheism created a single umbrella identity. It was a way to control the people. So then they said we needed a book that could be edited, translated, and controlled. A portable doctrine. A portable government system. Some of you might be thinking, I know what book that is. So that's what they said. Dang, now since we made Christianity legal, we need a book to kind of control people while we not there. So you might be having this book that's controlling you right now, while Constantine ain't even here. But this is what he thought back then. All right, he made a promise of loyalty beyond death. If you obey the empire, you get heaven. The portable doctrine equals the Bible. You already know it. I ain't want to say it, but you already know it. This is what he was thinking back then, well before our time, well before the church even had a building, well before colonization. Constantine was already with the shit. Okay? He said if they obey the empire, you can get to heaven. East Africa, Turtle Island, and Niji people all face this indoctrination centuries later, like right now. If you obey the empire, you're going to get to heaven. This is what they were saying. They had it tied together. They had church and politics together back in the day. And I want you to think about, why would they separate it now? Think about why they would separate it later, like during our time. This built hierarchy back then. It started with the bishop. So he had the bishops at the top. Remember, the bishops were tax exempt. They were collecting rents, tithes, all of this for Constantine to convert people to Christianity, because now they wanted to control people with one religion. So he put the bishops at the top, and then were the priest, then the deacon, and then the laity. The laity. Laity. I was like, what the hell is laity? Because this is at the bottom of the hierarchy. So you got the bishop, the priest, the deacon, and then the laity. Rome loved that structure. This is before over here, guys. We ain't had this shit over here. It said a population ready to die for their beliefs is what they wanted to create. A population ready to die for their beliefs. Anyone willing to die for their God is someone who is willing to die for their empire, they said. So what's the real reason he becoming one God? He saw it as a way to control the state that he was in by making one God. Thank you for the rose, Michael. What's going on? All right, so legalizing Christianity was not about Jesus. Have y'all caught on to that or nah? Jesus was never in his plan to legalize Christianity. It wasn't in his plan when he was like, everybody give Christians theirs. Jesus wasn't mentioned in his plan. What he was doing had nothing to do with Jesus. All right? It was about control, economics, and empire building. So let's break this down even further, because I had more questions. I had more questions after I got to this point. Bishop, priest, deacon, laity. Yes, laity means ordinary people. Let's look up the actual definition, because I'm a definitions person. I like to know the words that people were talking about back then so I can really have a clear understanding. Laity. Laity. Lay people as distinct from the clergy. That's exactly the definition of a laity. This is the lay people who are under the clergy. It's a bishop, priest, deacon, laity. It says churchgoers, flock, the faithful, the following. The second definition of a laity is an ordinary people as distinct from professionals or experts. All right? That's what a laity is. So that was the order that they had in Rome. And if you see, it's still over here now. But it came from Constantine. So the administrative power, Christianity already had, before he made it legal, they already had bishops, deacons, elders, deaconesses, scribes, tithes, charity networks, hospitality houses, record keepings. This looked exactly like governors, judges, tax managers, census accounts, laity, churchgoers. Exactly. Laity. I don't want to be no laity. All right. Rome basically said, let's convert this religious network into a government network. Same thing they do now. Period. And that's exactly what they did. So when you think about the government that controls us over here in America, and you think that it started, with just the government. No, it started and it stemmed from Christianity. It stemmed from Rome trying to control the people. So they made this religious network that they already kind of had over there into something that was a tool for them into the government. So the church created the government. You get what I'm trying to say? And it was like one entity. It was weird how they thought about it, but he was like, okay, let me copy that motto, I guess. I don't know. So returning church property wasn't charity, it was investments. Churches back then, because he gave them all the land, they owned land, they built buildings, they collected tithes, they hired workers, controlled the agriculture, managed the money, they became tax experts. So the church created the government. Yes. This created parallel economy Rome could control from the top. So they realized, dang, the church is already collecting money, got the people obedient, we might as well control it. He saw this as a sign to conquer. All right. So what happened? What happened? It said Christianity became the military branding of Rome. Christianity became the military branding of Rome. You see how it started to get a little confusing? So Christianity outlawed. So when it became legal, Christianity outlawed tribal gods. I remember when the church was one and then they separated it. Facts. We're going to get into why I think they separated it. When you see what's going on behind the scenes, you'll see why they had to separate it. Because it's like we can't have this connecting to each other because, you know, they used to have a prayer school. Right. And that used to be mandatory. Required. You used to have to go to church or be unalive, basically. Back then. It was mandatory. But that was later. We still on Constantine time when they first started religion, and it outlawed the tribal gods, nature-based beliefs, women priestesses, ancestor worship. It outlawed ancestor worship, local ceremonies, indigenous healing, and indigenous law systems. When they made Christianity legal so that they can control it, it outlawed everything else. So basically you could be unalived or, you know, locked up if you believed in other things. Give me the timeline again. So you mean like the timeline for Constantine? It was 330 legalized Christianity. And right now we're just trying to figure out why he legalized Christianity, because he wanted to get rid of anything indigenous, anything that they couldn't control. They made it illegal. These tactics were later used in Africa, the Caribbean, the Americas, and Turtle Island. By making Christianity a requirement, it makes other things outlawed. So if you got colonizers coming over here and they have all this history and they know how to do this in Europe, when they came here in the 1400s, like Christopher Columbus, and Christopher Columbus came with crosses and he had the Bible. And when I read the Christopher Columbus story, I didn't understand how he had the Bible or the cross. I was confused. I'm like, why he pulling up to the coast and putting out crosses and passing out Bibles? Like, I was confused as hell by that. I didn't understand it, but now that I know the history behind 1,000 years before Christopher Columbus, this was going on already. It was mental warfare, the same as it is right now. If you erase a people's God, you erase their laws. Oh, you erase their land right. You erase them and you own them. Do y'all see how they snuck that in? If we erase your God, we erase your indigenous laws, we erase your land rights, we erase you and we own you. This is what the church was saying back then. This was the blueprint they still use against us right now. Okay? So Rome built the Catholic Church. So we going from the timeline to how this became to convert us today. You erase your God, we erase everything. Facts. That's what they thought. We can erase their God, control the religion. Remember, one religion, one God, I get control. And they was saying back then, I got a sign that I was told to conquer. That's the same BS Christopher Columbus then was on. So Rome created the Catholic Church, which created European kingdoms, which created the colonizers, which came to the United States. And they used the Catholic Church and Christianity to convert the people, to rename the people, to reclassify the people, to rewrite their story, and to replace their identity with someone else. I wonder who that replacement is. And to claim their land and make them think they're from Africa, from over here somewhere, to disenfranchise the autochthonous indigenous people. Alright? This is how we, as indigenous Niji, became Negro. This is how we became black, colored, mulatto, freedmen, descendants of slaves, African American. All legal fictions, but not bloodline truths. This is how. Christianity, thank you for stealing our identity. I'm sorry, guys, but we got to talk about the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. I ain't expect to find out all this information, but I did, and I had. So I was like, what? And I kept digging. This ain't even it, guys. And we already an hour in, and I'm not even halfway done with the discovery. But I ain't gonna stop because I think my live is still going, so that's a sign to keep going. All right. So this began Constantine's blueprint. Belief is the doorway to the empire. Whatever people believe, that's the doorway to the empire. So Christianity then becomes state power. After Constantine came Theodosius. Theodosius was 380 CE. So we got Constantine, born on my birthday, 227, like 270 something. He created the Edict of Milan in 313, which legalized Christianity. And then after he was gone, there was Theodosius in 380 CE. What's up, love loves me? Just got that gift badge. All right. So Theodosius, this is a whole other person. Let's pull up his picture because I gotta know who we talking about. Theodosius. Theodosius. And it's all gonna be in concrete because, you know. So this is Theodosius. Let's move y'all. So this is Theodosius. Theodosius the Great, they call him. Alright, check him out. Theodosius the Great. He was born on January the 11th, 347, and he died January the 17th, 395. So he didn't even live that long. But he was the Roman emperor. He won 2 civil wars, blah, 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 blah. We're not talking about that, but that's Theodosius. So y'all can kind of see who we talking. What the hell Theodosius did. So Theodosius made Christianity mandatory. He made it mandatory. The official state religion, a legal requirement, a political identity. Oh, and get this, a census category. Oh, we getting somewhere here. A census category. What you mean? 380 CE, they had census categories? And one of them was Christianity? Come on, man. So that means back then, they were going around kind of how they do now with making you black and all this stuff. What they did back then was they made Christianity mandatory. So when they took the census, you had to be Christian or something else, and then they could do whatever they want to you. Because it was mandatory. It was a legal requirement that you became Christian in 380 CE. Clock that T? Yeah. After that, pagan temples were destroyed. So after they made Christianity not only legal, but they made it mandatory and all these things, and the state religion, and so anybody in that state had to be Christian. Control your mind easier. So Theodosius in 380 CE, indigenous sites were stolen, turned into churches, land converted to crown property. Yes, you heard me right. So when Theodosius came through, he said, you know what, I don't care what Constantine said, we're going to take this even further. Listen, bump all that. This state that we in over here in Europe, wherever we at, everybody here got to be Christian because we got to get control of these people. It has to be. It was a political identity. So the political identity back then was Christianity. I know that sounds crazy because we discussed, well, we talked about earlier how they separated the church and religion here to try to confuse people, make you think it's something separate, but they are the same thing. Back then, Christianity was the political religion in the past. Because we going somewhere here. I promise you that. So after they did all that, they erased all the indigenous worship. They turned all the sacred sites into churches. Yeah. Erase religious leaders, women. They are the God. That's what they told them. Yes, they told them. We are the gods, basically, behind the scenes. So the blueprint colonizers would later use in Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Oklahoma, and everywhere the Neji once lived came from this one change right here from Theodosius. When he made Christianity requirement, he made it the political identity. So to be in the politics back then, you had to be Christian. To be in control back then, they knew you had to be a Christian because everything else was destroyed. Why does this matter for us now? Because this is where the game got real dirty. When they got your identity under control, they gave you a religion to control you. Now they control the law. Now they control the land. Now they control the generational wealth. Or the generational curses that you might have. It was never their God. It was our God. But see, the thing is, they destroyed whatever indigenous spirituality that we had to our Creator. They wanted to destroy it and put us into Christianity. And what you're saying is, I see what you're saying, like it's our God. Like, I don't think our God and their God is even the same. But they have us worshiping something that it just go deep. But let's go a little deeper and see what we can get from that, because that's a strong, statement. It was their God, never was our God. Facts. That's totally true, right? So when Rome learned to use religion as a tool, because all it is a tool, guys. I need you to get in your head. Okay, religion is a tool. What are they using this tool for? They learned that they could use religion as a weapon. What the fuck? America learned they could use